even though you have this many wins in the regular season, it's not going to be a cakewalk by any sense of the imagination through the playoffs for this team.
Yeah, that's the thing, is you can be this just absolute wagon in the regular season, go through it and not face adversity and pile up wins. But when you get to the playoffs, you never know what's going to smack you in the face.
Right.
That's the thing that's crazy about it. But look, we'll see how it plays out for them come playoff time, whether they end up with Pittsburgh or the Islanders or maybe Florida. We'll see. I don't know that any of those teams, really present a huge issue for them, other than maybe the Islanders because of the size and the goaltending of Sorokin. So
yeah, I mean, it's the old adage, isn't it, that you get to the playoffs and a hot goaltender can steal any series, and so there's perhaps that thing for them to worry about. But as an organization, as a team, you look up and down this lineup, and you would think that they could probably overcome just about any hot goalie situation because they're scoring a ton of goals and they're giving up almost nothing. I mean, this team has allowed 165 goals this year.
That's insane.
They have outscored the opposition by 50 goals in the third period. I mean, it's
plus 50 is good, period.
Yeah.
But in the third period only is insane.
They're plus 38, excuse me. 38 in the second period. And they are plus 18 in the first. So, yeah, I mean, this is, again, they have, when you look at the grand total of things, they have scored 121 more goals than they've given up. I mean, it is really something to behold. And so, that kind of thing is what you think would be able to overcome a hot goalie situation. But again, you get these 7-game series and you can get anything can go in either way. And, you can get a game where, it's 56-16, the shots on goal, and you lose. You can get anything like that. So it is definitely going to be interesting to watch this team roll through the playoffs.
The thing is, too, is they've one player that's a point-per-game player. That's David Pastrnak, who's eclipsed the 100-point mark. Yeah, that's nuts.
They've got all this offense with one guy who's a point-per-game player.
Yep.
I mean, that's there might be books written on this team. I don't know. I mean, this is just amazing the way that they have been able to connect this year.
Yeah, I mean, Pasternak's got 57 goals, 48 assists in 79 games. Marchand's missed a few. He's played 70, though, but he's only got 20 goals. So their second leading scorer on the team is Bergeron, who's got 27 goals. So the gap from the highest scoring guy to the second is 30 goals.
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts.
And normally you would look at that and think, all right, you're top heavy. But then you look at the rest of the lineup.
Yep.
And, Bergeron is one of these guys, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys at 50 points or more. A seventh, Jake DeBrusk at 48.
Yeah.
That is a balanced lineup. And again, this is an example for me of
team building,
a team building and pieces in the right place, because it's not like you could take a Jake DeBrusk and then take a David Krejci and then take a Pavel Zacha and put them on 3 other teams and expect them to maybe produce the same way. This team is functioning well because it's a unit, and it's really remarkable to watch.
And it's amazing their way their salary is structured. And the one thing about this team that's odd too is this team was not built from the top of the draft.
Right.
It really wasn't. I mean, they had the core. They do a great job with the Pastrnak draft. Marchand's a late developer. Bergeron, obviously, in the second round, great player. And you get McAvoy as your stud D to kind of take the mantle from Zdeno Chara. But then you make savvy moves. You add Taylor Hall. You add, guys that can really help this team. Hampus Lindholm has made a huge difference on this team. And he's been a big factor. Brandon Carlo. I mean, it's just a good exercise in team building. And we'll see what they do in the playoffs. But they look like a team that's built for the playoffs as well. And they got 2 great goaltenders. Linus Ullmark's been the guy that's really carried it for the most part for them this season. But it's not going to be him tonight. We were talking at dinner. I was talking with Adam Kimmelman. We're going, the guy that's playing tonight might, even though his numbers aren't as good as Ullmark's this year, he might be just as good, if not better. and Jeremy Swayman. So we'll see him tonight.
Yeah, and then they've got a second goalie here that I don't know who he is, but
Is that Keith Kincaid?
No, he was facing me. I have my old I have old notes. That's Rossi. I have old notes. I haven't gotten the ones with the updated lineups on it yet. I'm trying to figure that out right now. But it was 5 guys, right, that I understand that they brought up for this game today.
Yeah.
So again, they're going to toss in some of these pieces, and again, more team building, and the fact that they've gotten to this point in the regular season gives them the flexibility to do this. Assuming these guys are, the Black Aces, if you will, gives them a chance to play a game and look at how they might fit in with the rest of the lineup if there is an injury in the playoffs. A lot of times you don't get to find that out until there is an injury. The Aces don't necessarily practice with the team. They're usually off on their own rink. It's not like they just toss them in there and they get reps and everything like that. So, this is a unique opportunity for them to get a look at some of these other guys and how they'll integrate in the event that they are needed.
Yeah, the Black Aces, the way they practice when they're on a postseason roster as the Black Aces versus how the team practices, totally different. Mm-hmm. Those guys are just trying to maintain their bodies when they get into the playoffs. I tell you what, we'll take a timeout, and when we come back, we're going to kind of go through some of the categories that have Boston where they are with 62 wins this season in regulation. And we'll talk about that. Flyers and the Bruins. It is Jeremy Swayman versus Felix Sandstrom. It's Brian Smith, Jason Martinez. Flyers Game Day brought to you by Betway on the Flyers Broadcast Network. Yeah. For now, yeah. Yeah, we're back at the Wells Fargo Center. It looks like warm-ups are concluding, Bryce. There's still members of the teams on the ice?
Yeah, they're out here doing their thing. This is just mess around time at the moment. Only 2 minutes left in the warm-ups. Flyers are in their final drill, and then Boston, they don't appear to be doing anything. They're just hanging around. So it's winding down.
I guess you can just hang around when you got 62 wins,
Yeah, now they're doing something choreographed. I don't know what the heck they were doing. They were getting ready for there for a moment. We don't get to see warm-ups normally. Jason and I don't, because we're usually in East Food Hall, which was a great thing for us all year. We're making some other arrangements for these last 2 games due to some other things that are going on. But Flyers do have a couple of new things that we haven't seen before. I think I've seen some of these drills at the college level, but just some different things to the warm-up that have snuck in here this year. So it's all the same thing, though. They do everything in the same order every day. It's certainly habit, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, last night when the Flyers got shut out by the Islanders and Carter Hart was taken out after the second period, we speculated, you and I, Brian. Does that mean maybe? I mean, there's one goal that he doesn't like and the coach won't like, but was it enough to pull him in that game? And did he earn a little more leash there? And did they maybe pull him because he would play tonight? Well, he's not playing tonight.
Well, it turns out, though, you were right. And I had to laugh because, you and I talked about it, and then I asked him in the post-game press conference, and he said, I said, did this have any impact on your plans for tomorrow? And he said no, which obviously, I honestly, that's exactly what I expected him to say. But he told us this afternoon that it actually was in his back of his head that if he pulled him when he did yesterday after the second period in the island, he could come back with him tonight.
Yep.
But then after the game, which was even before he talked to us after the game, so he probably had made the decision. He talked to Kim Dillaball, and Kim was pretty strongly against starting him the third time in 4 nights. And there's no reason to. There's nothing on the line, by the way. Yeah, there's nothing on the line here.
Yeah,
there's no reason to put him in that situation. Yeah. So yeah, when we saw it happen yesterday, that did turn out to be the desired effect. However, they then changed their mind after the game. So
that's great to hear.
We kind of knew what we were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, like in this situation too, like where's the upside with taking on any risk with 3 games in 4 days?
Sure.
Against a team like Boston, and at that time we didn't know that they would be missing so many players. But yeah, I figured if he was taking them out, the workload wasn't that heavy based on the way the game was being played. Zone time and opportunities for the Islanders. You always look at power plays for the opposition too as one of those things that can tax a goalie. There wasn't a whole lot of any of that. So
right.
Yeah.
And again, he's not going to agree with that. No goalie is. Darren Pang is here today working this game for TNT. He is a goalie. And he said it himself. Any goalie is going to want to just go in there every game. And if it's a guy like with a bigger stature like Martin Brodeur or something like that, he'd come out and say, "No, I'm playing." So that's definitely not like Carter doesn't want to be out there. He didn't want to get pulled yesterday, and he wants to be out there today. But the Flyers are looking out for his best interests as a hockey player, and it's pretty likely that he's going to get the last 2 games here this week.
Yeah, that'll be Tuesday here at Wells Fargo Center against the Columbus Blue Jackets, and the season finale in Chicago on Thursday night. Now, the lineups for this game, we talked about Boston's lineup for this game, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
It's, a lot of Providence Bruins, a lot of call-ups, but the Flyers are doing something very interesting in this game. I don't recall ever seeing it that it pops out to me where they've had a situation like this, but basically, what is it, 13-5?
13 forwards, 5 defensemen. Yeah, the situation is that Nick Seeler is unavailable today. He is apparently under the weather, and as a result, the Flyers have to, put another player in, and they've chosen to put in Kiefer Bellows instead of Tony DeAngelo. So it is going to be 13 forwards, 5 defensemen. We don't really have an clear explanation as to why. It was asked in pregame, and Torts basically essentially said that it was a group decision, an organizational decision. I don't know exactly what that means, and I would be remiss if I didn't say that I don't remember his exact wording, but it wasn't just him is what he was getting at. And so I don't know what's going on there, to be quite honest, with our role in all of this, you and me and the rest of us. It's not really our place to ask, but it'll come out, I'm sure, eventually. We just, we're not really sure what's led to these last 3 games now for Tony DeAngelo to not be playing. So, that's just it is what it is. And, they're going to get 5D out there that certainly get a workout in.
Yeah.
And, who knows? Maybe they'll toss one of those forwards back on D for a shift or something like that. We'll see how it goes. But it is a very unusual and interesting situation overall.
Yeah, the 5D is going to be Sanheim and Ristolainen, Provorov and York, and then Braun's the 5th, and he'll rotate in. And, I mean, you have a little versatility here because York can play either side.
Right, and I believe Delorier is penciled in possibly as that 6D. If they're going to throw a forward back there.
4th line right winger.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to throw a forward back there, it looks like he might be the first one up, and then Bellows would take that 4th line right wing. But, like you said, we're just going to have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I'm looking at the forward group, and I'm going, who would be the guy that has the transferable skills to play D? I mean, Noah Cates obviously is a good all-zone hockey player, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's it would be a killer, a penalty killing guy, somebody that is well versed in that, and again, probably you look at a guy like Nick Delorier, he's got that part plus the toughness and things like that that a defenseman needs to bring. I mean, he could go back there and really throw the weight around and
clear the crease.
Yeah, exactly. So if he is the one that goes there, it would be interesting to see that aspect of his game.
I wonder if he's ever played it. I mean, he's probably played a little D at some point along his hockey journey. So we'll see where it goes. But we'll give you the forward line combinations coming up as the Flyers are going to take on the Boston Bruins, the top team in the NHL. And not just the top team in the standings, but in a lot of individual categories. We'll give you those when we come back as well. It is Brian Smith, Jason Martinez, Tim Saunders, and Steve Coates. They'll have the countdown to face-off at the top of the hour, followed by all the first period action. Let's take our last time out. It is Flyers Game Day, brought to you by Betway on the Flyers Broadcast Network. We are back live at the Wells Fargo Center. Here's Brian Smith, Jason Martinez. We're getting ready for Flyers Bruins. Only 3 games remain. Can you believe that, Smitty?
I cannot. No. It creeps up on you quick, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it going, well, the Bruins are playing their 80th game of the year. How the heck did that happen?
We got to find a way to find you a way to get in a better mood because, right?
No, that just happened.
So, hey, I got some breaking news. I mean, it's not breaking. It's 10 years old. But breaking news to us. Nick Delorier was drafted by the Los Angeles Kings as a defenseman in 2009.
Really?
He played defense in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. And was drafted as a defenseman, did not convert to left wing until 2013.
Really?
So you learn something new every day, I guess, right?
Wow. I did not know that.
The Kings, he was drafted by the Kings, and he was playing for the Manchester Monarchs, who at the time were the Kings' American Hockey League affiliate in Manchester, New Hampshire. They had a ton of defensemen. And so they asked him to take a few games at left wing, and they kind of liked what they saw. And then the summer came around and was just going to get ready for that next season, which happened to be a Kings Stanley Cup season, which I don't think he was there for it. He got traded before it. But Dean Lombardi, of course, an advisor here with the Flyers, and some of his staff decided they wanted to turn him into a left winger. So he does have that background, and we might see it today.
Wow, I was not expecting that. I was almost being facetious.
Yeah, no, you're a good scout.
Better to be lucky than good, Smitty. That much I know.
Yeah.
Let's get to the Flyers' forward line combinations in this game. Here's what we got: Morgan Frost centering Joel Farabee and Travis Konechny. Noah Cates centering Kevin Hayes and Owen Tippett. Scott Lawton centering James Van Riemsdyk and Wade Allison. Tanner Lazinski playing in the middle on the fourth line with Lemieux on the left, and Delarius, maybe, or Kiefer Bellows on the right. We gave you the D pairs of Sanheim, Ristolainen, and Provorov York. Justin Braun, the other. Maybe Braun will be partnered with Nick Delarier, as a matter of fact, who is a left shot, so that works.
Yeah, again, this is the kind of versatility that keeps you going in this league, right?
Yeah. I've always said, what is the saying? Be good at everything, but a master of nothing,
That's what you're supposed to do.
That's what I am.
There you go.
Okay at a lot of things, but not great at anything.
There you go.
It's kind of the way I look at it.
Blend in.
Yeah. So it is the Flyers and the Bruins. So here's the kind of the rundown on the Bruins. They're at the top of the NHL, Bri.
Mm-hmm.
Their points percentage this year is a ludicrous 80.816, which is insane. The second place team in point percentage in the entire league is the Canes at 0.690. They have 12 more wins than the Canes. That's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, we saw how good that team was, right?
Yeah.
And it was interesting at the time that John Tortorella talked to Coates's on the scoreboard, and I can't hear what he's saying, but everybody's cheering for some reason. So.
No, well, Coates's on the scoreboard. That's why.
But I mean, right at the time there was kind of chatter from Torts like, yeah, this is the best team in the league, and we're all like kind of well, I think at the time Boston probably wasn't playing quite as well as they are, and so now this team has just been off the charts as of late. I just did. I was stalling here just because I was looking something up, and I don't know. I just randomly picked a year. So 1970-71 was the year that I'm going back to with this. Boston's 816 right now is second in that time frame to only Montreal's 825
76
in 76-77.
Yeah.
So that is how astounding that number is. That's that high a number.
That's the team they're chasing for total wins, but they didn't have ties.
Well, no, actually, and I thought the same thing. I was surprised that Montreal team only had 60 wins, but yes, you're right. It had 12 ties.
Yeah. The
number that Boston is going after today. Tampa did it in 18-19. They had 63 wins, but the team for me that really holds the record is Detroit. In 95-96 had 62 wins. They went 62-13-7. That's 7 opportunities that they did not have to go to a shootout and get an extra win.
Yeah.
And Boston and Tampa both had that. So that's why for me this is a shootout era record as opposed to an all-time record. But that's it's still pretty astounding to get above 60 wins regardless of what methods you have to get there, but they do have a higher points percentage than both of those other 62 win teams.
Yeah, and it's not an apples to apples comparison because of that. You're right. When it comes to putting the puck in the net, they're second in the NHL, 3.62 goals per game. The only team with more goals per average per game is the Edmonton Oilers at 3.98. Problem is for the Oilers, they give up over 3 goals a game.
Right.
Boston gives up just over 2.
Now, again, the Oilers tried to fix that at the deadline.
Yeah.
Right. And so that average is over the whole season. And for those purposes, heading to the playoffs, all the stuff that happened before the deadline doesn't matter. So if they were able to fix it at the deadline, maybe they're in better standing than they were. Let me give you another number real quick that'll nauseate you. That Montreal team, 387 goals in that season. That's 100 more than the Boston Bruins got.
Yeah. But Boston's probably on the same pace, like adjusted scoring.
Yeah, it's a different era. Yes, they probably are on the same pace. But just to see that number in a goals for column is crazy. And that's not even the highest number. Those are those Oilers teams of the 80s that were routinely scoring 400 goals a year.
When you want, look at the teams that are the great teams in the league. They keep the puck out of their net. Nobody does it better than Boston. 2.09 goals allowed per game. The second best team is Carolina, 2.56. They give up almost a half a goal more a game. Unbelievable. You look at power play. Their power play isn't off the charts, but it's 11th in the league. The PK. Now imagine you got good goaltending, you got a good PK. Well, you're right. 87.2%. Oh, come on.
Yep. I mean, that's what you and I are talking about here. This is a a team built as well, if not better, than any team that you and I have seen play in person. So.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, even faceoffs, they're up there as well. You got Bergeron, they're second in the NHL. And they're just a fundamentally a great team. And Jim Montgomery's done a heck of a job, and I don't see there's any other chance of anybody winning that Jack Adams. Dave Hackstall's done a nice job getting Seattle into the playoffs in year 2, and there's been some other good coaching jobs. But the job that David Montgomery, that Jim Montgomery has done, who was a guy who was mentioned as a potential candidate here. And
yeah.
I think they were talked to, and he's just done an amazing job. And sometimes it's hard to coach teams that are really talented because it's a different style of coaching that you have to do with those teams.
Yeah, exactly. You have to know how to manage it. You have to know,
bingo.
How to bring out the best in those players on a day in, day out situation, and who to complement them with. And he has definitely mastered that for this season.
No question about it. We've got Flyers. We've got Bruins. Flyers running 13-5. Felix Sandstrom gets the start against Jeremy Swayman. And we've got Tim Saunders and Steve Coates standing by. They're going to deliver you the countdown to face-off, and that'll be followed by all the first period action as the Flyers take on the Bruins' final homestand. Just a 2-gamer of the season. They'll wrap up the homestand on Tuesday and wrap up the season on Thursday. 3 games to go. Stay tuned for Philadelphia Flyers, Boston Bruins hockey. You've been listening to Flyers Game Day, brought to you by Betway on the Flyers Broadcast Network.